Hey.
I should still kind of janky. I gotta fix this one. It's like wobbly, but
Niner.
what's good? Thanks for coming out, bro.
Yeah, man.
What's your have you done anything for Halloween yet? Any like wild last couple of days? No, isn't this weekend?
I went to Minimal Effort. And then we had I'm turning my phone on.
Yeah.
And then we had an Understated event at Pattern Bar.
Mm-hmm.
We did an EP release party for Christians, or 28 millimeters numb EP.
Yeah, I saw that. Nice.
Yeah, that EP is amazing, and the party was really good. It happened really last minute. As people know, we had our own night at Pattern Bar, social studies with LA Riots.
That's right.
That ended because Dan wanted to go, build a van and travel and stuff. So shout out to him.
Is that what he's doing instead?
Yeah. There's him and his dog. He's living the life.
Damn solo.
It's really sick actually. But yeah, so we kind of put a pause on it, and then we were gonna restart it under our own name and our own thing. But we just timing wise, we kind of didn't make it happen. And so we for now lost the night. But the owner of Pattern Bar hit us up last minute. It was like, hey, do you guys want to? I have Friday night open. Someone canceled. If you guys want, and we're like, oh, this is perfect. We can do an EP release party for 28 millimeter.
Yeah, the timing worked out kind of well.
Worked out really well.
With Pattern Bar, it's one of those things where if you have enough consistent like good events like you guys do, they'll hold the night for you.
Oh yeah. And I think we're gonna come back next year. And I mean, the night ended up being way better than I thought it would be for it happening so last minute. So that was really cool. And then also if you haven't, go get that EP. Numb EP, 28 millimeter, out now on Understated Recordings. It's incredible. It's so good. Christian is such a talented young kid. He's from Brooklyn.
Hell yeah.
He just moved to LA like a couple months ago. He went to Icon though as well. So he has some history in the city.
Yeah.
He's one of our first artists on Understated. So this is his second release with us, and he has like a pop background, but he also makes melodic techno.
No kidding.
So it's great because it's both of his worlds coming together.
Yeah.
So it's the lead track Numb is a really beautiful like melodic techno pop leaning song, and it's like a very very nice blend of music, which is I love when things that maybe shouldn't blend
a little bit.
Yeah, they cross over. It just makes it that much more interesting and like it's different,
And you're doing this through Understated Recordings. That's
yes, sir.
The focus has been just trying to get like the right kind of music that fits you guys. You kind of think a little bit more, or you're just finding songs or artists or tracks that you guys want to kind of just represent.
Well, it started off with our friends that like artists that we had booked for our parties and artists that we had like kind of been associated with, and that had been associated with the brand just as Understated, who were having trouble getting some of their music out to different labels, some bigger labels, but the music we were hearing was like really good. Like we were like, why aren't people biting on this? Why aren't people signing this? Like this is some good stuff. And Andrew Condi, he works for Create Music Group in distribution. So he's worked at he's had like every single job in the record industry. So he's worked at Capitol Records, and so he knows the record industry. Yeah, exactly. Very good guy to have around.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's had like every job in the industry. So he knew what to do. And we were like, oh well, we have friends that have records or songs, and Andrew has this background. Like, why not try it?
Yep.
And just like that, the label was born. Like it just. Yeah.
Do you think it would have been as easy to kind of get the label started and off the ground and kind of have the same people without doing the events first? Because obviously, like, how long have you guys been doing events with Understated?
Almost 3 years.
3 years, right?
Almost 3 years.
Almost
like,
3 years?
3 in November. Yeah.
Sick. Congrats.
Yeah.
That's coming up. That's next month. That's
tight. Yeah. So, but we're doing our 3 years like later. So we're doing 08 and then our 3 year. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, and I think the label came like a year later. So no, I think the label would have been impossible. Not impossible, but it just wouldn't have been on our minds the way it was when we finally had like a pool of artists to reach out to and pull from.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
but I like that. I like the fact that you guys were able to kind of see the hidden, or not the hidden talent, but see the things that you were kind of saying like, oh, why isn't this getting signed? And you guys took advantage of it and started your own fucking. That's the way to do it out here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's kind of the whole spirit of Understated in the first place. It was very like LA serving. Like we wanted to serve Los Angeles and the artists of Los Angeles, and because there's so many people here, there's so many talented artists here, like, and I feel like so many people are reaching elsewhere when like all of it's here, you know?
Yeah.
Like all the people, like artists move to LA, you know, for that specific reason alone, to make it, you know, like, and pursue their dreams. So why would we not just like throw them a bone and like, you know, use our platform to help these artists out, and, you know, and do it like in a very LA centric way, but also get it out to the world and be like, hey, this is Los Angeles. Like, this is what we're about. You know, this is what we represent. And, so that was why we started throwing parties. That's why it's very LA centric lineups when we book our lineups, and that's why the label is very LA centric. So it all tied itself together,
right?
You know,
yeah, I feel that, man. That's good. That's good for you guys. And you have a good group of dudes. You guys have enough connects. You have the
we you know, like, I mean, Micah and I have been doing this for a long time, you know, as DJs and producers, and
Micah
and I,
Smith.
Micah Smith and I,
How long were you both DJing before Understated came about? Because I was just saying, when I had Micah on here, I was talking to him about that originally, and it was through meeting Andrew in school, kind of thing, that Understated, or the
it's such a web,
right?
It's such a web, but more or less, like, I knew Micah through his like best friend from college, this kid Steven, who also works at WME now. So like that was one person who helped us like get our foot in the door as well. And Steven introduced us, Micah and I, and was like, hey, my friend Micah makes music. You guys should make music together. And that's how we met. And then Micah was going to UCLA, but he didn't know Andrew at the time, I believe. But Zach was always like my best friend. So. And Zach was going to UCLA as well.
Yeah.
And then around 2012 is when we started producing together, like seriously, and we started our duo Sunset Groove. And then Zach came in the fold and started managing us, and it was like they were at UCLA, and then Micah met Andrew, because Micah was taking a break from UCLA actually when we started, and then when he went back, he switched his major to music and musicology, and then that's when he met Andrew.
What are the chances of that?
Right,
what
I know.
Are the chances of that?
I know, and then Zach and Andrew met, and then
what is that? The butterfly effect?
It's some crazy.
One thing happens and it changes like the entire course of everything else. That's fucking wild.
It's some wild shit.
Yeah. I love that theory.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite things.
It's a great theory. It really is. Like, it also like the time travel theory, like step on a branch and like
yeah, like, and the ripple and it changes. That's
it's some wild shit.
Well, it's good, man. I'm glad that you guys obviously got everything with the right group of people, because I feel like the team is almost as important as the content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
I know a lot of collectives, and this is obviously not to drop any names because it's not even really about that, but just you can see them that they don't do it. Like, there's internal struggles, like heavy.
Yeah.
And it translates to like the bookings. It translates to the lineups. It translates to the marketing and the events.
Absolutely. I mean, you could see it for sure. And like, if you're having problems inside of your crew, like that's going to show like at your parties. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to, you know, like if you're struggling, like your party's gonna struggle, you know.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that we're perfect. I mean,
of course
we have our own trials and tribulations, and you know, but it's much. I think the difference is that it's much more of a family vibe with us. Like, we're not like, we're in business together, but like, you know, we could stop this tomorrow, and like I know I'm still gonna have like 4 best friends out of it, you know, regardless of what we're doing. So when we fight, it's or when we like have an issue or whatever, a disagreement, I should say, it's out of love as opposed to like out of like some sort of like
I'm
business.
Doing this for me kind of thing.
Yeah, some sort of ego business thing. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I deal with the same thing with our guys. It's one of those things, and I'll say that I'm the one that maybe gets a little too businessy sometimes, but it's just that sometimes that's where my head kind of leans. I feel like someone's got to do it. Whatever.
No, but look, every group needs one.
I'm the motherfucker.
Yeah, every group needs one, because if we didn't have that, I mean, look, we were with Mike and Jess last night at Minimal Effort, and Zach and I were talking about it on the way over here, just like how much we love you guys, because when it's all of us together, it's just constant jokes. Like, it's just one big ass joke. And so we need a Micah, we need a Jay, we need an Andrew, like, or I think a Manglin would be for us. We love you, Mangs. You're hilarious, by the way. Trust
she got
me.
jokes, dude.
Yeah, she has jokes too. but we need someone like that to just be like, hey, come on, like, rein it in.
Rein it in
a little bit. Like, we can joke about it after, you know, but like, so.
I mean, you feel like it's not even personal sometimes. Half the time it's like, we got to try to not be like, let's take the friendship and everything out of it for just a sec to kind of think of the bigger picture, because for you guys and for us, it's about the brand.
Exactly.
So it's as much as it is us kind of doing our thing, it's a bigger picture, and sometimes you got to make sure we're taking care of certain things to make sure the brand like can do more than just self-sustain.
Exactly. No, exactly. I mean, you know, there's no work without play. There's no play without work. You know, you need them both. It needs to be a balance. You know, but
I feel that.
yeah, I'm glad we do have someone like that. You know, as much as annoying as it can, not annoying, but as like as it can be.
Sometimes, yeah.
You just you just want to have fun all
I
the
know
time
the
and play.
energy.
You know,
I
yeah,
get
you know the
I feel that.
But we wouldn't be able to play if we didn't have someone that was holding us accountable to work.
Right.
So
Right.
plain and simple, you need both, and you got to be grateful for both too.
Yeah.
So.
Has your DJing kind of take with like the increased level of like work you guys are putting into the label, putting into the events? Has the DJing kind of taken an aback to that a little, or is it maintaining that sequence of work and DJing? Because DJing, I mean, it's as much as it's play for you, it's still work.
It's still
for
work.
you,
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How is it that how does everything fit in with each other for you specifically?
Yeah. No. That's a good question. I get booked in really weird ways. Like shit just like falls out of the sky. Which is cool. Like it's just unexpected. So I'll notice like not a slump, but like I'll notice like a little bit of a lull in my DJing. Like I'll for example, last week I played 4 gigs in a row. I played in San Francisco. I played at Public Works, and then I jetted back down to LA to put Mikey at the studio on the terrace thing that Midnight Lovers did, and then. Wednesday played a clinic with Kevin Saunderson, and then on Friday opened for Jack London at the Moroccan Lounge, and those are all 4 different gigs, 4 different styles of music, like 4 to the floor music. They all happened like very quickly. Like it was just like boom, boom, boom. You know, like and for a while I didn't think I was gonna have anything. I was just, but I usually. So with that being said, I usually take that time to when I feel like there's a little too focused more on the label, and to really throw. Oh, sorry, and to throw myself into Understated stuff, behind the scenes stuff, because I'm like, well, and that's the great thing about having something like Understated, and for me is like I can, if I'm not DJing, I don't get like stir crazy or get bored or like like I'm not doing anything. I'm like, all right, well, this is time for me to now focus on Understated to be the A&R of that I am of the label, and to like be the talent buyer for our team and do that whole thing. So yeah, no, I keep them both pretty separate and pretty like not separate, but pretty balanced.
It balances itself.
It balances itself out, and then a lot of times my DJing also feeds into Understated, and and Understated feeds into my DJing. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good deal. That. Yeah,
that's good. It's fuck. What was I gonna say? Long night last night.
On the tee.
Yeah, no, I mean, because we always talk about like how much is going on in LA in any given night.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like a lot of DJs, they kind of do that for certain times, and because there are lulls in their like scheduling, a lot of them are just like, well, I want to throw my own party. Yeah. So that creates more collectives, creates more events, creates more stuff. So I get the whole when you're not DJing, you're like, I feel like I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. No, I feel like. I feel like when you do that though, like if you say it's like, because I was DJing first, right? Understated came second.
Yeah.
Neither one of them is first or second, but it came second. But I didn't throw it because I didn't do Understated because there was a lull, and I did it because I was in a transitional phase. Mike and I were in like a transitional point in our career. We had decided to like officially disband the Sunset Groove, and like we were getting into darker, like heavier stuff, more tech house and more techno, more like deserty stuff as well. I think that like I think the fact that we were able to spin it into something else was what assured us that we would survive in the music industry, as opposed to like, oh, I'm bored, like I want to throw a party now. It's just, you know what I mean? Like it's just like
there was more to it.
There was more to it. Yeah, there was more to it than this. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, there was a deeper thing going on, and because I feel like that when that happens, the second you start DJing again, like your party goes out the window. You know what I mean? And like. This was something that was more of a survival thing for us, as opposed to just something that we were doing because we were bored.
Just bored.
Yeah, we just wanted a new challenge, And
you guys have been doing it.
We've been doing it, man.
It's been so fun to watch.
Thanks,
the last 3 years, it's been like you guys doing your thing, and you bring something. Like, it's the family. People can see the family aspect in the way you guys promote it, and the amount of people that are promoting it. And you guys are always at the events mingling, and it's.
Yeah, thank you, man. We can't, like, at least for me, like, I can't really see myself doing anything other than being in music. Like, like I dropped out of college, and never went back, never thought about going back. Like I used to work at, my mom works in law. I used to work at a law firm I used to work at my mom's law firm. And I could have went that route.
That's where you went stir crazy.
probably that's
sitting in there like, fuck,
bro.
I can't. I can feel
Yeah,
that.
but it's like that was cool though. It was like a family vibe in there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, just being in that energy though was just, it
wasn't for you.
Yeah, I'd be like having to like file papers and I'd be sitting there like drawing or like listening to music or doing something, something
your
creative.
heart wasn't in it.
Yeah. So, and I knew then, I was like, I can't see myself doing something other than music or some sort of other creative industry job. So this is my life. Like, it's my everything. And but it's cool. Like it's also fun to me, and I'm someone that just loves to have fun.
Right.
So I want to do something where I'm having fun, and I'm also feeling like I'm being productive.
Yeah.
Being like a functioning member of society, but like simultaneously like living out my dream and doing my thing. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Was it house music right off the bat? Like when around that time with the law firm when you were sitting and you wanted to get out? Was it to DJing? Did you pick up DJing like?
So I started DJing in college.
Okay, so
that was
to
the law firm was after college. It was
Okay,
like me dropping out and my mom being like, okay, you need a job, and then being like, well, you can work here.
Sure.
Yeah. But I was already DJing by then, not as seriously, but it was something that I would say I was aspiring at that time.
And it just at the beginning, it just took kind of trying to understand the equipment and trying to understand your sound more.
No, I knew what I was into. I couldn't afford equipment for one. So
preach.
Yeah. yeah. I couldn't afford equipment, and I didn't know enough about it, I guess. I just knew that I wanted to DJ, and I had Virtual DJ. I still have it, still use it. Shout out to Virtual DJ.
Yeah.
It was free software, man. Like if you want to get started, like that's, I
never heard of it.
Dude, it's free software. It's a really good program, actually. It's really easy. It's really hands-on. It gets a bad rap in the industry, but like if you make it,
why?
I don't know. I think it's because it looks really cheap. But it's actually a very effective tool.
So it looks, as in like people using it during a set, you're kind of like,
no, I don't think anyone would use it during a set. Just like the layout of it. It's like if you download the software,
amateurish.
It looks very amateurish.
Sure.
It looks very like kind of like, I don't want to use this. But if you use it right and you customize it to how you DJ, like how you want to DJ, it's actually a very, very effective tool.
Yeah.
And it's free. I can't reiterate that enough. And that's how I learned how to DJ. That's how I taught myself. And I watched like a couple YouTube videos, but I kind of already knew what it was. I just kind of watched those videos for like confirmation, and then just went ahead and did it. Like,
that's all it takes.
Yeah, and I started in college with that. Like, so that was 2009, 2010. Yeah. So I've been doing DJing for almost 10 years now, but fast forward to like a couple years later. I think by the time I left the law firm, that was when I started working with Micah. That was around 2012, and then I needed someone else that knew what they were doing. Like Micah went to Dubspot, he went to music school, so he knew what he was doing. Like he had he knew like how to use the equipment and how to use the software. And I didn't know that, so he taught me. He really helped me.
That helped you get to the next level.
Helped me get to the next level. Exactly. So
it's crazy to think that if you were, let's say, messing around with the software, playing it, not getting the tips from Micah, not getting, some sort of, not training, but some sort of like help from someone else, who knows how far you could have gotten and how quick. I mean, honestly, I still think you had it in you to do it anyway, so you would have picked it up. But that kind of...
Dude, I think about that all the time. Like, where would it have gone? Like, had I not had that, like had I not met Micah, like there were so many things that happened by chance that it blows my mind. Like my whole life, I feel like has been, my whole career has just been like one big coincidence, one big by chance situation. But
hey, ride the wave.
Yeah,
bro.
exactly. Not a more dangerous way to live.
Yeah, that happens.
But no, to answer your question about the house music, so it wasn't house off the bat. Like I don't know. I got into. So house music has always been around my family. Yeah. Like my parents are from the East Coast. They're from Baltimore. My dad was a DJ.
Oh no kidding.
Yeah, he played played more funk and disco and like early hip hop stuff. Yeah, it's just turntablism and stuff like that. And my mom loves disco. My mom, she grew up in that culture. She grew up in that area. My mom loved like all the early house stuff that was coming out of the East Coast and Chicago and stuff like that. And so it was always around. I as a kid, I always just thought it was like really fast R&B music. Like
disco,
disco and house. I didn't know. Yeah,
really
just
fast
just thought it was like really fast R&B. So it's always been around, and I didn't start recognizing that it was house until high school.
And you're like, that's the difference.
That's
what I'm hearing.
That's what it was when I was growing up, and I was dating this girl when I was like 16. And we were just riding around the city, like looking for a party or something like that. And she was playing Around the World came on. And I was just like, yo, what the fuck is this? That shit blew my mind. And because at that point, hey, That's Zach right there. What's up? By that point, I was deep hip hop head. Like, I wanted to be a rapper. I was learning like how to use an MPC and, you know, like turntablism stuff. And, you know, my downstairs neighbor in the building I grew up in, like, had an MPC, had records, and I was writing raps.
Yeah.
Like, I was pretty serious about that. I still got bars if y'all need it. No.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. They need it. We need it. I mean, that early era of like hip hop and R&B and, you know, the rap culture was. Yeah. It's not the same like it is today.
You know what, man?
I was excited to get you on.
I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. But yeah, so I was listening to Daft Punk, and then that's when I recognized it as house. But the similarities to hip hop were what drew me in, like the funky bass lines. Mm-hmm. Like Daft Punk had like a slower tempo. It was really sample based. It was, you know, like had that repetitive hook. You know, it had a hip hop bounce to it. Yeah. So that drew me in, but it was different. And I always just liked stuff that was different. Like I was always a contrarian. I never liked things that were like what everyone else was doing. Yeah. It wasn't even top 40. It was like, it had to be top 40. Even if it was top 40, it had to be something different about that top 40. You know what I mean? Like it was just something that like stirred the pot, you know? If I see too many people going that way, I'm going to my instinct is to go that way. Yeah. You know, that's just how I am.
Because you're creative. Yeah. That's why creatives to always go the opposite.
Exactly. Yeah. So when I heard this, I was like, wow, this is the future. I was like, I could actually, you know, I feel like, you know, make this kind of music or do this. Like something just clicked, you know, like I was like, this really speaks to my soul, you know.
And this was after you started DJing using the
No, this is way before any of it. This is when I was 16.
This is like
I was in high school.
Found out about house.
Yeah.
Got it.
This is when I was in high school. Okay. So the DJing didn't come till like 4 years later.
Okay. So this is like the original where you.
This is where I got house. Yeah. And then I got into Crookers, and then I got into like Mastercraft and Justice and all that Bloghouse stuff. And then by the time I was 17, 18, I started going to raves with my friends, and my friends all got into trance. I never really got into it like they did, but we were all into like the music. And then I went to my first rave, and then which was EDC 2008. Then I was still very much a hip hop kid. You know, I liked house and stuff then, but I loved it at the time, you could say, but I was still very hip hop, you know. And I walk in, first thing we hear is DJ Hype playing a drum and bass set, obviously, but he plays. So I hear the rapper, and like I hear the break beats, and I hear like the bass lines, and I'm like. It like my brain like exploded. Like I was like, wait, this is familiar.
All in one.
I was like, this is what I like over here, and this is what I like over here, and now it's together. Like whoa, like you know what is this? And then, you know, I was like, oh, this is drum and bass. Okay, I've heard of this, and I knew what dubstep was, and then that was the first time hearing it live. That we played Caspa, Where's My Money remix, and I thought my bones like jumped out of my skin. Like I'd never heard anything like that before. It was just complete out of body experience. Like it was like one of the first things I heard when I walked into the rave. And so I became like this massive drum and bass and dubstep head. Still am, but I don't like. Yeah, I was more into the UK stuff, so like the crazy bassy stuff, like the wobbly stuff wasn't my thing. But I still, you know, liked it.
Train spotting, Steez.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny, like. So over the years, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years, I was super into bass and, you know, drum and bass and dubstep, and then kind of got into trap when that came, because that really was like combining my sensibilities and my influences. And then, but it's funny, I started getting into like UK garage and like future bass with like James Blake and like Joy Orbison's early stuff and like early Disclosure and like Pangea and all that stuff, and the Hessel Audio stuff, and that's what like led me back into discovering like Chicago house and Detroit techno and New York house and like American club music, and it all just kind of seemed to like just coalesce into like that, like, you know, like 90s New York house has that like that really like MPC swing, you know, that you would hear in hip hop records, you know, that really funky like hip swing, you know. Chicago house has that like really funky like hip hop bounce, you know, and those like really funky like repetitive like spoken phrases that are like kind of, you know, raps almost, you know. And Detroit techno and even the LA techno bass scene, like with Egyptian Lover, like has that, you know, the breakbeat 808, just, you know, it all is so similar. And so once I got reacclimated, reacquainted with the sounds of that, that's and that was around 2012, and that's when it kind of all clicked, and that's when it kind of all took off, and that's when I started producing, and that's when I started really getting serious about DJing, and that's when like it all just kind of it
sounds like, I mean, you kind of started hearing it for the first time. You didn't understand it. You thought it was something else. And then you heard a little bit more of it that started mixing a couple of things that you liked. Yeah. And then you went to a show. How important was it for you to think like defining a genre in your head or putting a sound to a genre, like a title, as far as like, oh, this is drum and bass, this is trap, this is house, this is garage, this is like techno, this is tech house. Like how important was that in starting to understand yourself as an artist and understanding what music you're even fucking listening to? Because half the time people are like, oh yeah, that's this, and you're like, that's not the fucking
yeah. Oh, you dude, yeah. No, you know what? So I didn't know what anything was, when that was the good thing. Like that's why I play the way I play now. Like people ask me what I play now, and I cannot give them an answer because I play everything. Because I have so many different influences. Because I didn't know what anything was. It was good to like. It was almost like a filing thing in my brain to like know what it was, so that I could like sort out the different like variations on what makes each genre a specific genre. Okay, like drum and bass is like a it's got 3/4 like but sped up like James Brown break or whatever, you know what I mean, or like and like heavy bass lines. I know dubstep is like a 2/4 rhythm, it's like, and it's 70 or 140 BPM depending on how you look at it. House techno usually you're 4 to the floor, they can have a break in there, but it depends on like the rhythm and the swing and the groove as well, and yeah, like just so I went by sound more than I went by like what the actual genre title of it was. Like it was just like, what does this sound like, and does this fit my sensibilities of what I think makes people want to dance or what people want to hear on the dance floor. And so that's kind of how I define genres, or like, and that's also how I don't define genres. Is how I kind of just like, I'm like, I don't know. I can't do the genre thing. Like it's.
Has that affected your like bookings?
It has. Yeah, it definitely has. I
would think it would help, because if you're unable to like necessarily kind of because I mean, if someone's looking for like a drum and bass artist, they'll probably know where to look. So like, does it kind of prevent you because they're like, he's not representing himself as a drum and bass? Or
a lot of artists, a lot of promoters don't know where to place me. A lot of times, like, they don't know. Like they ask me, "What do you play?" And I'm like, I don't know. And sometimes I wish I could give them an answer. But then I don't want to go into a show and play something that they didn't book me to play, because not that I want to do that, but that's just what's gonna happen when that's just my natural style.
But that's kind of on them though. Like if
I think so too.
If they're gonna reach out to you in the dark, like not knowing your sound, not having been to any one of your shows, not knowing your music, and they're like, "Hey, we know your name and we want you to play, but what do you play?" That's on you to kind of.
That's for you to decide, and that's kind of and to take it back to Understated. That's kind of my whole thing with why I love what we do with Understated. Like we actually do our research on who we're booking. Like we actually do the due diligence to like know who we're booking, to like know why we booked them, and to not just like look at a flyer and see like someone's name that plays like a bunch of times, and it was like, okay, I want to book this person. It's like, no, like I don't think that's how it should work. And it lowers the quality of the party. It lowers the quality of the the parties and the whole greater good of the scene.
Listen to this man. Listen, I agree. I agree 100%.
It's like, know who you're booking. Yeah. Like and so what if they don't have a genre per se? Like if they, like that's kind of the point. Like like you don't want. You don't want someone playing. You don't want 4 DJs playing tech house in the same party. Like you know what I mean. Like book this guy that plays garage. Book this guy that plays deep house. Book this guy that plays desert tech. Book this guy that plays techno. Like that makes for a better, well-rounded, sonically adventurous party where you can like really get lost in the music and like really you take your brain on a journey and like make connections that your brain wouldn't have made. That like the art that the artists are making for you. That's why we create art. That's why we're artists, to make connections that you don't see. And so it's. So I go through it still. It's a bit frustrating, but at the same time, I've honestly gotten to a point where I'm just like, I don't care. I can't stress myself out of it. I know what I play. Like I know what I like to play. Like, and that's one of the reasons. At Sound when I was
that's right. Yeah, you had a residency at Sound.
My residency at Sound. Yeah. It's still kind of
going on.
Yeah, it's still going on. I haven't played there in a while, but that's still my family. Yeah. Like shout out to Sound. But.
Great club. Too many strobes. Too many strobe lights for me.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, it's wild when you're in it, but it's wild when you're having a wild night. It's great, but I feel you. But yeah, they would put me like Mark would put me on lineups with like Cutsnake, and then like that was the last time I played there, and then I'd play House Heads, and then I opened for Sonny Federa, and then I've opened for Maxi Sound System, and like that was great. Like they recognized that like I could go anywhere and like make it work. And this last week when I was saying about those gigs that I had 4 gigs in a row. Like I said, I played an afterburn party in San Francisco at Public Works for Dusty Rhino, which is like one of the more popular art cars at Burning Man. They're the ones that do the Tycho Sunrise set every year, if you're not familiar.
Oh, no kidding.
And
they do that.
Yeah, that's their camp. Yeah, and they're the brother camp of Nuts.
Yeah,
which is our camp. You know, shout out to Nuts.
Oh, I thought you were gonna show me a tattoo or something. I was like, bro,
we're in the rubber
Jesus
band.
Christ.
No, I'm not that deep. But yeah, so they invited me up to play their afterburn party, which was so fun. It was amazing. So I started off with kind of more playa influenced sounds, and then just kind of bled into like whatever I felt like playing, you know. And so that was one style. And then, like I said, go back to LA the next night, and I'm playing just a sexy deep house set with Mikey, you know.
Yeah, real sexy.
Yeah, it was real
Anytime
sexy
you and Mikey involved, forget it.
Yeah, man, that's my man. That's my G. Him and Stephon both, man. Incredible. You guys get it, you know.
Yeah.
You guys totally get it, and that's why we're brother crews. I would say, you know, like. And then the next 2 nights later, I'm opening for Kevin Saunderson at Clinic, so I went into kind of more my techno tech house bag, and then. The next night, 2 nights later, I'm opening for Jack London at Morocco's now. So I went into like my indie dance, like new disco bag, and my deep house bag, you know. So the fact that I was able to play all 4 of those nights relatively very well, and you know, like without a hitch, and you know, I was definitely drained by the end of it for sure, like creatively drained.
Sounds about right.
But the fact that I was able to do that was all the confirmation that I needed for myself to be like, hey, like you don't have to be pigeonholed and be like put in these boxes of promoters want you to be put in. Like you can do all of these things. And I think some of the frustration comes from being like, I see a lineup that's booked and I'm like, oh, I would want to play that. Like I bet, and then somebody might be like, oh, but Mike doesn't play that sound. And it's like, no, I could play any
you
sound.
can't call that.
Yeah, you can't call that. Like I can actually probably play that sound better than the people that say they probably play that sound.
But then maybe it's better that you don't play those gigs, because if the promoters and the people behind it don't understand what you can bring as an artist, you're probably better off. Because
I think so too. Yeah. And I think it's more about finding like with sound, like how I found my tribe, and then like with Understated, how I'm kind of just making my own shit. You know, like I think it's more about like finding my tribe and finding like who. You know, who can trust me and who like knows me and who knows that I can do this, you know. And and honestly, so I'll hold out for that right promoter or right person that gets that, you know what I mean, and not stress about it.
Yeah. Because it'll come.
Like I said, it'll come
with the people that know you and the people that trust you and the promoters. And I mean, you're very well integrated in the scene enough to not really have to stress out about like searching and kind of asking for gigs here and there. I mean, obviously, I don't. I personally don't even see too many people asking, and the ones that do are usually the ones you don't want to book.
You know what's funny though? Yeah, I actually asked for that Kevin Saunderson gig. I just went up to Cyril and Izzy and I was like, hey, who do you have opening for this? I was like, I want to play this. But I felt like it was right. And I felt like it was something that I needed to do to show that like, hey, I'm not just a funky house DJ like that everyone thinks I am, or like some deep house DJ that I think like I play techno. Like I love techno. I love tech house. You know, like I like, you know, more old school tech house, like the newer stuff, but that's another conversation.
That's a whole other conversation.
But I like, you know, I like tech house. I can go in that direction. I like techno. I love, like I said, I love techno, and that's a really big part of my musical background as well. So so I feel like I wanted that to like show like, hey, like I'm not as boxed in or as like wide ranging, as eclectic as you think. I'm where you want me to be. Yeah, I can be what you want me to be, and I can do it well. So anyways, yeah.
I feel like that level of awareness of what you are capable of as an artist is way more open for you in house music, in dance music, with all of its subgenres, because you can do this, but I feel like if you were trying to do this creative expansion, so to speak, in rap, there's only so many styles you can do. I don't think there are as many subgenres. There aren't as many subgenres as dance music.
There aren't. No, I mean, it's like you got trap. It's like, it's so weird. It's like there's trap, and then there's like the SoundCloud rap, and then there's like the real trap stuff coming from the Dirty South, and then there's like kind of like the West Coast variation of what trap is. So it's like all these little micro genres within like a subgenre within like the whole scope of hip hop. And then within dance music, you have like. You just have subgenres. You don't really have micro genres. Correct. You know what I mean? Like it's just subgenres everywhere. So so yeah, I think with the micro genre thing, it definitely gets a little complicated. And but yeah, back to the whole hip hop thing. Like I mean, yeah, I'm born and raised in LA. I grew up on the west side of LA. I grew up like right in the middle of the city. So
roots.
Roots, man. Grew up around a lot of gangs, and I also grew up around a lot of rich people. So, so I had like
on one side of the street is one, on one's the other.
Literal facts, like actual facts. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So it's and and I, going to LA public school, it's like, it's the same thing, you grow up around a lot of kids. Half the kids are in gangs, and like half the kids are like, wealthy, and half the kids are like, just kind of doing whatever else they do, playing sports, trying to stay out of trouble.
Yep.
I had a foot in like both worlds, playing sports and also getting in trouble, trying to stay out of trouble. But no, so I grew up like, really listening to West Coast hip hop. But also with having parents from the East Coast, was around a lot of East Coast hip hop, and going to Baltimore during summers and winters and hearing what they're playing and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother sound back then when you would go. Then if you were just, because I mean, me for the most part, my general understanding of hip hop and rap came from pretty much LA.
Yeah,
my uncle's a Rasta, came over from Ivory Coast, so he brought Bone Thugs over to me.
Nice.
He brought like
Sick.
everything from there, but I never really got to like pull up to a neighborhood in Baltimore and hear completely different hip hop and rap music than you would hear in LA.
They were really heavy into New York stuff, being
the
proximity, but they had they have their own rap scene. They have a really strong rap scene out there. It's really healthy. It's very much infused with house music, and club music, like the Jersey club stuff, Baltimore club stuff, So, but but I have family in the South as well too. So going to Atlanta and hearing Crunk and like hearing Lil Wayne and stuff for the first time, hearing like Young Jeezy for the first time and stuff, and Crime Mob, stuff also blowing my mind. So my hip hop range is just as outreaching and wide-reaching as my house music and dance music range. Like I listen to so much music. Like I love everything from indie pop to like. No, I'm like heavy into Clairo right now. And
to what?
Clairo, she's like this indie pop singer.
Clairo,
she's really dope.
Familiar. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's really dope. And then also we'll turn over and listen to like Death Grips. I'm just kind of like all over the place with it, but except for country.
I haven't fucked with that either.
I like Chris Stapleton, but
I'm not.
He's dope.
I know a lot of names. I haven't really fucked with the music. It's just not for me.
It's not.
Fucking sorry. Okay, I'm not even gonna. Actually, I'm not gonna apologize for that.
Kanye Shrug.
Kanye Shrug. Did you hear the new album?
I love
Kanye.
it.
I was talking to Stefan and Fem. I feel like no one does albums like Kanye does, because each one is like a saga.
Yes.
Like you have 808s and Heartbreaks, which was a fucking moment for Kanye. You have Jesus is King, which is like a whole new era of
the
Kanye.
king of reinvention.
It's weird. It's bizarre. I don't know any other artist that does the music like that.
The closest person I could think of is Kendrick Lamar.
Per album, I guess I could see that it's like a whole different vibe for
Jay-Z kind of does it too.
Jay-Z
does it too, but that's where Kanye got that from.
Right, but I feel like Kanye's is just so extreme.
It's very specific. It's like it's not even just like an artistic change, it's like a whole lifestyle change. Like he really transforms into the person he's becoming as he's making that album, which makes for amazing art because he's really living that life. Like he was the backpacker college dropout kid when he made College Dropout, and then he became this big celebrity when he made Registration and Graduation. And he was playing stadiums when he made Graduation. And his mother died. And he really he broke up with his Amber Rose, and then he got sad and he made 808s, and it's like he's not lying. The man's really like out here, living his life, like in whatever way it comes. That's the art he creates. But Jesus is King is good. It's I do want to hear Kanye rap some like funny shit and some like kind of like X-rated kind of gaudy shit. Like I do miss that Kanye for sure, but he's on his journey, and like the music, musically it's still so good. It's fire. That song with Ty Dolla $ign is amazing. Like the chord progressions like in his voice like make my fucking like hair stand up.
I got it on vinyl before I even heard the record. I
feel wow.
I trust a lot of those on vinyl because the sound is just so much crisper. I did that with the Carter 5. I was disappointed.
Yeah, same.
I'm not gonna lie. Very disappointed.
Same.
Carter 5 did not
especially being Carter 3,
Carter 2, Carter 3,
man.
Carter 2.
Most underrated hip hop album of all time by far. Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of those.
There's a lot of those too. But back to I grew up. No, I love this, man. No, so I grew up on West Coast hip hop, but grew up on East Coast hip hop, grew up on Southern hip hop. But I do have this like deep affinity for West Coast rap because LA is my home. Like I love LA. It's my lifestyle. It's why I am the person I am. It's everything to me. So, give me some Corrupt, some Warren G, some DPG, some Dre, some NWA, and even the newer stuff. Like I like RJLA. Like my brother manages this group Villain Park, who's from my neighborhood. They're signed to Def Jam. They're incredible. Check out Villain Park if you have not. They have an album out called The Recipe. They're awesome. If you want bars, you want lyrics from New School guys.
I do.
Check them out. I'll send you. I got you, bro.
Send me Clairo too.
I'll send you Clairo. Yeah, for sure. I'll send you Clairo. Yeah, we have that playlist now that Harry made, so we can.
Oh, that's right.
Just
Yes.
put music in there.
I thank you, Harry.
Yeah, did the Lord's work for that.
Thanks,
Shit.
yeah.
Yeah, word.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it's but my tastes. So yeah, I grew up, listening to more or less though radio rap. Even like it was like stuff that I would hear on the radio that was West Coast. And then when I got to high school, that's when I really got deep into like hip hop.
Yeah, I'm choosing what I listen to.
Yeah, that's when I got like Wu-Tang, and got into Tribe, and got into Mobb Deep, and got into like always been in Mobb Deep, but like really got into Mobb Deep, like Juvenile Hell era Mobb Deep, and like. And then, Souls of Mischief, Nas, yeah, exactly. Like I said, always been a Nas fan, but like got into like Black Star, man, yeah, exactly. Can they make another album? Like I don't care if they're like 60, like just make another album.
Does Tyler Quali still make music solo?
I don't know.
I don't even know if Mos Def does it.
He does a podcast. Mos Def, yeah, Yasin Bey.
He still does music?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was on the last Kanye Kitsy Ghost thing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, he's on the great song on that.
Yeah,
too. yeah. His verse was amazing.
I mean, with like the Wu-Tangs and the Souls of Mischief and the Nas and the Mos Def and Mobb Deep, that's like my preferred. Like, just music in general. Like house music and everything we do with like in the scene with house music and all the subgenres. It's like. It's like when you leave work and then people are able to leave work at work. For some reason, that's just how it is with me and house music. It's really hard to like do that all day and night.
Trust me. Yeah,
and then wake up and listen to,
So I remember you and Jake were talking about this on the pod. I'm the same way. Like I love house. I'll listen to it, I'll listen to some good deep house, like some really good jazzy deep house.
Yeah.
Like, that's really good headphones.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah, it's a different vibe. Yeah, but like, I mean, if you're going to like try to play like a Solardo set around me, like, when I'm like trying to go home or something, or just casually going.
We don't have a fest,
like no. And it's not just shout out Solardo. You guys are dope, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
no offense.
Yeah, no shade, but you know what I mean. It's just not. You have to listen to other music, and I remember that's what Jake was saying. It's true. Like you need different inspiration. You need different sonic influences. Like I can easily but you know what? They're like the parallels between '90s hip hop, 90s New York hip hop specifically, and 90s house are so similar. They're using the same equipment. There wasn't like this wealth of equipment to use back then. Like you had an MPC, you had an SP1200 sampler, you had some turntables, and you sampled and you cut and you chopped it up on your MPC or your 12 or your SP, and you had a couple synths that you used or your 808 909. That was it. You had like 8 things.
The equipment was the equipment.
The equipment was what it was, and the records were the records. It was wax. Your mixer was your mixer, and so there's a lot of similarities. Like I was listening to 36 Chambers the other day, and RZA's like finger snaps and like crashes or 909 crashes, like like it's if you pitched up some of those records, you would sound like have like a 909 house drum groove. Yeah. So it's so it all ties together and that is like my preferred era, I guess. Like if I had to pick an era, I don't know. It's between that and West Coast hip hop, but
yeah, it's a tie. It's a tie. I mean, as long as it resonates the same to you, anyway.
It does. Yeah, really, exactly. Yeah, but I do like the new stuff.
You do?
Okay. I'm a big Playboi Carti fan.
Okay.
I like Little Pump's first project when it came out, like the one with Gucci Gang on it, because it's fun. It's so nihilistic.
I was gonna say my little brother is part of that generation where he's 20 years old and he came up with I introduced him to Wu-Tang. I introduced him to Mos Def. Like he didn't know that. He just knows the SoundCloud turn up, just high party music, which I get and I can fuck with it to a certain extent if it's in the right setting. But I'm not gonna be driving down the street listening to Gunna.
Yeah, it's so
like it's just not. That's not my shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of them I don't mess with though. Like the Gunna Lil Baby, like
it's not. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Yeah, I don't get it either. But it's so funny. I was on the way to Pattern Bar and I took the train from work to Pattern Bar, and as I'm walking down Broadway, I was listening to Rakim. I've been heavy on this Rakim tip lately. Like I can listen to that dude rap forever. Like he's so in the pocket. But then I was kind of like, all right, I want something a little different. And just naturally, unknowingly, went to Playboi Carti, and I was like, "Wait, how the fuck did I just go from Rakim to Playboi Carti? Like, what am I doing?" Like, and I tweeted about it. It was funny. I was just like, "What?"
That's like, it's like they're in the same genre, but the scope of like the vibe that you get from like the Rakim type of shit compared to like Playboi Carti.
But you know what? Look at it like other genres too, right? Like look at it like rock and roll. Like if you listen to Chuck Berry all the way to like, let's say 9 Inch Nails, like it's totally different. If you listen to Louis Armstrong to like, who else? To like It's like a Dave Brubeck or something.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there's similarities. Like they both play trumpet, but like it's like
that's a different like micro genre.
Exactly.
That's where
era.
That's where it becomes a little harder to kind of point.
And I guess my point in that is genres evolve, and you don't want a genre to stay stuck in one place. And I feel the same way about house music. Obviously, you know, like I don't like, you know, like there was that big resurgence of 90s house that happened like in the early 2010s.
Yep.
Right. And that was cool and all, but I think the big criticism of that was that like, wait, we're going backwards. Like we should be going forwards. You know what I mean? Like house music was a culture about going forward, you know? So
do you think it's certain like music are like certain music genres are trying to not change as much? Because I mean, the critiques of like the new age rap now, it almost seems to get put down. Like, I mean, I'll admit I'm one of the people that it's not for me. So if someone's going to tell me like, my little brother, I tell you all the arguments I have with this dude. He's like, dude, this is the shit. And I'm like, let me put you on. There's always like that. I know better because but it's like.
You know what? Like, I have an 18-year-old nephew. And like, it's, he knows his shit. Like, he knows what he likes. He likes what he likes. And he produces music as well. He's really talented. Yeah. But, you know, there's something about that generation and that music that just resonates with them the same way that our music in our generation resonated with us, that you just can't get it because we're just not living their life. We're not living their life. So the best thing you could try to do is maybe show them something different, but also let them like just rock. You know, let them do what they do, let them like what they like, and then also try to understand it, because then you know if you can understand it, then you might be able to better guide them into something that's like you know, maybe something of more substance later on in their life. You know what I mean? And so I just, you know, and I try to understand, I try to embrace it, and I want to stay young too, you know. I want to stay youthful.
But that's the thing, like as a creative, as an artist, like if I don't DJ, but to be involved in music from back then, it's like if you're not able to kind of get with the times and to adjust, you're not testing, you know, your capability to understand more than just one genre, or like, hey, I'm stuck in the old school era of hip hop. That was the shit. That's my shit. This new shit sucks. Yeah, I mean, do you want to be stuck? You got to be able to find gems here and there.
And they're everywhere.
And there are.
But it's like, do you? I mean, you know, not say that you are, not say that other people are, but it's like, you know, if you look at like just the world, like this is kind of extreme, but if you look at life, right, like do you want to be stuck in the Stone Age, or do you want to be going on with the Industrial Revolution? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of that same thing. Like, and also you could look at like hip hop is what, like 40 years old now? You want to say? Ish, yeah.
40, 50.
When, you know, rock and roll was at its 30, 40-year-old point, it was punk rock. And you could look at this era of hip hop and say this is its punk era right now.
Oh,
you know,
ooh, that was deep.
Yeah. I got that from Anthony Fantano.
No, take the credit.
I'll take credit.
Yeah, nobody.
No, I tell people that though. All
right,
so I'll take credit. It's my I'm spreading the gospel.
You heard it here, motherfucker.
Yeah, so you got to look at it like that, you know, like, and that's just part of the evolution of the genre. And I have to say I didn't get the credit for that because I heard it from someone else, and it helped me understand the new era a lot better, and that's what actually made me embrace it and like it. And you know, I listen, like I said, Playboy Cardi, someone, because I've been listening to him a lot, like. He's really cool. Like his music is really dope. It's a vibe. Like, you know, you really it's fun as hell. It's catchy. It's really like just some of those whoops and, you know, things he says with his vocal inflections, those ad libs. Yeah, they're really tight. Like he's in the pocket with his ad libs, and it's just it's fun. It's bouncy. You're just kind of like, all right, like I get it. And, and honestly, and I see a lot of parallels between this new kind of lo-fi SoundCloud era of rap with lo-fi house. As well. So, and it's like, you know, lo-fi house is amazing. You know, it's really, it's the same, but it's that same kind of rough, and house, you could say the same, it's like 34 years old. It's punk era, you know, so it's that kind of rough, you know, like sound that's like not all, like Malgrab, for example, is a perfect example of someone that's like super, that kid's punk as fuck, you know what I mean? Like, even Peggy Gou, like, you know, all her tattoos, and like she has a very punk attitude about her and her music, you know, like, so that's just where the times are, and I think that's just how the music is evolving, and it's better to just go with the trend, and you like what you like, and you're nostalgic about what you like, and you can infuse that into what's going on now, and that's what I think people should be doing. But you know, it's also important to like I said, just stay current and stay on trend and know what's going on, because it's better art.
It's 30, 40 years, when you know you look at a genre, you look at a music, and it changes so much that only leaves like a fucking big question mark as to where's music gonna go from here. Like house music had its 90s underground type of, you know, whatever vibe to it, and then it's grown to like mainstream popularity. Now people in the underground are still trying to bring it back and bring what they're understanding to the above ground, and it's like, where is it gonna go? It's fucking crazy, because my brother's generation now of rap in 20 years is gonna be his old school rap. Yeah. And then there's going to be a new generation of hopefully it gets fucking better. I mean, not to say that this isn't good, but hopefully,
that's the next point though too. That's the next thing. It's like, you know, you still have like the lyrical miracle, you know, rappers out there. Yeah. Like, I mean, the biggest rapper in the world, arguably, is someone that's like that, Kendrick Lamar. Yeah. You know what I mean? The most critically acclaimed rapper of our generation. So people still want that. You know, people that's still very much there. That still very much exists. You know, and I guess it's by then your choice to either try to block out what's going on and like, but focus on that there is still positive, you know, what you would call positive aspects of hip hop going on. Like, you know, Kendrick is very much a seed of you know,
the early days.
Of the early days. Yeah. You know, that's why I Kid Capri on Damn, you know, doing all the shout outs and like, you know, a lot of it was super boom bap, but it was also very trap too, you know. Yeah. And you have J. Cole out here, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. And look, say what you will about Drake. Drake can rap his ass off, you know, like Pusha T, 45, still out here rapping his ass off. Kanye, 40, just dropped an album. You know, like,
I think Eminem can still rap too.
Eminem can still rap. His music is, but he can rap.
I just don't get. He's still mad.
He's still mad.
Bro, listen, Eminem. I know you're listening to this. Obviously, I know you're listening, man. Chill out. You're good at this point.
Good, you know,
Like I got the original like angst he had with being like the white rapper and being, you know, the slums. I get that, and that was what Eminem was. But
the white trash vibes.
You're fucking fine now. Like,
bro, you're not white. More money than God.
Yeah. Like, you're not white trash. You're a diamond artist.
You have a beautiful daughter in college.
That's the thing.
You're chilling.
Yeah. Whatever. He hasn't put the Kanye way of making albums where it's like one era of his life. It's just been one, and I get it, but like,
okay, and you get new Eminem, you get bad Eminem albums when you don't evolve. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. You end up like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, when you stay in your own little fucking shit and you don't try to like listen to what's going on, you either come to it really late, which is exactly what happened to him. You either come to it really late and it's like some shitty watered down version of it, or like some kind of half-baked version of it because you feel like this is what you have to do.
Exactly.
And or you're still back in the Stone Age trying to fucking, you know, make fire out of flint when you have like a lighter right over here. It's like, you know what I mean?
It's one of those. It's just why not? I mean, again, when people like, for me, example, who's a fan of Eminem, when I hear the new album and like the first line is, "I want to punch the world in the fucking face," my initial is like, "Fucking why? Why?
Like, still out here calling, you know, dropping F-bombs and
you know, like make it fun so people you'll sell out again. You'll make another Diamond album. You'll make another fucking hit track. Like, you'll do it. But if I mean, again, I'm not fucking one to talk. If I'm gonna, you know, talk to Eminem again, I know you're listening.
You were an incredible artist, Eminem. Seriously.
But it's like, how long is he going to be able to do that? And he's pretty much putting his stamp like GOAT, and he's sticking to it. Yeah. And to a certain extent, I'm not going to disagree. But
he is to a certain. Yeah.
But it's like, think of what he can do if he takes those skills and like tries to change it.
And that's where Kendrick Lamar comes in.
Right.
And that's exactly where you get a Kendrick, like where it's like he can rap his ass off, probably rap better than anyone in history of hip hop, but he takes what's going on that's new and current and flips it into something that's not corny and something that is accessible to people and something that is also amazing art that changes people's lives and you know, ultimately wants to like change the world. You know what I mean? Like it's so, and same with Kanye. I mean, like, look, say what you will about the guy and his antics, you know, he stays current. He stays on trend. He stays with, like, what's going on. And
he sets the trend.
He sets the trend. And this is why people still check for him every day. Like, Rolling Stone just put out an article saying, like, you say what you will about Kanye, but he's more relevant than he's ever been. Like, I mean, Jesus is King dropped to, like, just all kinds of, like, tweets and fanfare and just memes and, like, you know, but, like, hey, he, you know, he's curating the zeitgeist. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's amazing.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, he's setting himself up for the talk with, like, oh, releasing it on this date doesn't come, people start talking about it. Releasing it on this date doesn't come, people start talking about it.
And people might start getting pissed off. You know, he really pushes it to the point where you're like, oh, but like, you know, then he even said it on Life of Pablo, may not come when you want, but I'm on time.
Dude, he's on time and ahead. And I don't think I don't know what he's gonna do next, but it's like you wait for it.
Yeah.
Eminem, it's like I'm not waiting for it. And it comes out, you're like, oh, okay, I'll listen to it. And you hear, and you're like, oh,
catch a vibe, whatever. Yeah, no, it's but yeah, man, I've been going back to hip hop so much lately though. Like it's been really like a lot of changes in my personal life recently, and just a lot of things happened, and hip hop is like what I think it's supposed to do is be there for you, like an escape, you know what I mean? And it's been really nice going back to like all the old rap that I used to listen to, like listening to GZA and RZA and Wu-Tang, and like listening to Atmosphere and Murs and like, all that stuff.
Feels different.
It reminds me of who I used to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was important for me to get back to that place if I wanted to continue on the path that I'm on now.
Yes,
I needed to get back to my roots of who I truly am. Yeah, to get centered again, exactly. And that's what hip hop does for me. And I have this cheesy saying that I always say to myself, where I say, hip hop is my soul. House is my heart, but hip hop is my soul.
I like that.
Yeah. And and it's just who I am, And like I said, I needed it to get centered again. I needed it to like, and honestly, it's been really helpful. It's been really inspiring me to like create house music, and because I didn't produce for a long time. People know this, if you know me, I'm a DJ. That's mainly my bag, but I've been quietly tinkering away in my room, making music again, and so hopefully
release it
next year. Hopefully, we'll see. But it's helped me write better house music. Yeah, listening to hip hop, like listening. That's why I've been listening to Rakim, because the way he raps, his cadence, he's so in the pocket, and I'm like, what if I could make like some cool acidity bass lines based on like how he raps, or what if like I could write some really abstract shit like Kendrick Lamar writes, but maybe over something housey, you know what I mean? Like
you don't see that too much in house music now, like the rap samples and the rap cadence and everything.
I have like a library. I have like a library that full of like stuff that I've stolen from rap songs. Like, and that's the thing too. I've been sampling. Rap songs sample from other songs. Like I've been sampling from the rap songs that I grew up on. Yeah. So like, and the rap songs that I listen to, like there's always these little cool rhythmic vocal hits and like little things and like these like drum breaks that I'm just like, I could speed that up. Like, I could take that little element like of the sample that's already sampled and put that over a house record, because and it sounds familiar, but it's also unique and different. You know? Yeah, you don't really see that though. No. Yes, and more or less depends on who.
I mean, it depends on who, but not really as frequently as you would like.
Not as frequently as you would like. That's true. Yeah.
Well,
man.
I'm glad you don't work at the law firm.
Thanks.
I'm glad you took that route to kind of get yourself back into the creative, because it's house music is your heart, hip hop's your soul. Yeah. There's not a lot of things. There's not a lot of people that can say that about anything. Yeah. So the music, like really meaning that much to you. I mean, being able to drive around and listen to, Shook Ones, and you're like, fuck. Yeah, get that. Like that. Yeah, you're in the energy. Car and the vibe, and you're driving, and it's like that doesn't come if you don't care for the music. Because if you're just playing, I'm just gonna hit 102.7 and drive, and the cluelessness, I feel like your head's not the music. Like I don't think people understand how important music is to like your mental.
Oh my god,
peace of mind, to centering you.
Yeah, man.
And for me, it means everything, because I can drive. I wake up in the morning and drive from drive around for work, and the hip hop and the old school stuff really makes it feel like home. Yeah, so to speak. Like when you're driving, you're not feeling like off. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No. I'm with you. Like I mean, that's exactly me. Like I take the train to work, because it's like the stops close to my house and close to work, and like it's that like 45 minutes that takes is like the best part of my day. Yeah, because I listen to music, listen to hip hop. I listen to the music that I want to listen to on my Spotify. You know what I mean, or a podcast that I want to listen to. But like I'll make a little playlist before I go, and just like the vibe I'm into that day, and I'll listen to it, and it's everything. I'll listen to, one day I'll be in the mood, I'm like Frank Ocean, and then listen to Frank Ocean, and then the next day I'm like, and I'll be leaving work tired, like like annoyed or about something, because I work in retail, and like listen to Mobb Deep, because I'm just like fucking angst. Angst. Yeah, exactly. Angst. Headache. Like, listen to fucking Mobb Deep or some Wu-Tang. Listen to chopping someone's head off. You know what I mean? Like,
have you seen the Wu-Tang show, An American Saga?
I didn't see American Saga. I saw the.
That's just good.
Wait, is that the Showtime one? Or that's the Hulu one? No, I haven't seen the Hulu one yet. I saw the Showtime one.
I haven't seen the Showtime one.
I need to. I had a Hulu account, and I need to reactivate it. Stop playing. That show was expensive.
Dude, that show's a good show.
I need to watch it though. Yeah. I want to watch it. I love Wu-Tang.
It's one of those things where aside from it being about like Wu-Tang, which is one of my favorites of all time. Same. It's like the acting is good, and the storyline. I'm in it more, because I'm like, fuck yeah. Wu-Tang.
It looks like them when they were young.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, the guy that plays Old Dirty Bastard is his son. And then Dave East is Method Man. Looks and sounds exactly fucking like him. It's bizarre.
That's so wild.
Really wild.
That's so tight.
Anyway, check it out. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but what do we got coming up for Monsieur Frazier, for Understated, for recordings?
So we have Christian 28mm EP, just came out on Friday. It's called Numb.
Word.
It's amazing music. Go get it. Go stream it. Go buy it. you know, do what you got to do. What else? We have Understated 008 coming up.
Yep.
With an amazing lineup featuring Rick Trainer. Shout out to you, Rick. A really cool special guest, you know, LA legend.
Hell yeah. Tell me off air.
I'll tell you off air. It's someone really dope.
Sorry, motherfuckers.
Yeah. You'll see when you get there.
Yeah.
And we also have Kevin and Dink.
Yep.
Kevin Anderson and Dink. Shout out to Desert Heart. Shout out to those guys. And then Jill's Yard curating their own stage. All women.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, they usually that's their thing, right?
Yeah. So we're using the front side of EJAG's
Yeah.
at the yard. Yeah, and they're gonna have their own. Yeah, that's Jill's house. We're turning to Jill's Yard. All women. You know, power of the ladies out there.
Oh, yeah.
And then what else? I have something to announce. I don't know if I can say it yet, but something involving my own nights.
Do it.
Coming very soon.
But if you can't, you can't. But if you
actually, no,
don't know, maybe.
I'll say it. Yeah. I am gonna have my own nights at Dirty Laundry in Hollywood.
Hell yeah.
Starting November 23rd, I believe. So it's gonna be once a month on Saturday. I gotta text them when I get off there to like make sure it's good. But like, man, thank you, thank you. It's my boy Dino taking over his night. It's called Pleasure of Love. It's a really awesome night. Yeah, and so he's moving on to greener pastures, and he did something really amazing with that night. So I'm really honored to be taking over 1 month out of the weekly that he was doing there.
Yeah.
1 week out of the month, I should say. So yeah, that's one thing, and then I think I have some other stuff. I can't remember, but I'm tired.
Yeah, we'll get you back on here. We can catch up with all the other shit.
Yeah, we'll talk more hip hop. I know we wanted to talk more about it, but
we can talk about that all day.
Yeah,
so I just wanted to touch base on it a little bit. I appreciate your time, man.
Jay,
Thank you for coming out.
I
love you. Oof, that's going on air too. Jesus Christ.
Again.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, there it is. Well, whatever. For those of you that tuned into the end, you got to see that.
This is my man's right here. Okay, this is just don't mind that.
Just whatever. It is what it is. Thank you guys for tuning in.